Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your host, TV Scouting MMA, and
the Guru back again for UFC Vegas 99. You've got Alexander Fluffy Hernandez taking on my fitness consigliere, Michel de Matador Pereira, in a middleweight bout. It should be bangers from the octagon. Honestly, we got a sick co-main event as well. You've got Rob Font taking on Kyler the Matrix Phillips, a guy that we really don't get to see in the cage too often, but when he is, he's quite exciting. TB, any fights you're looking forward to specifically on this card?
yeah, I think my favorite fight for this card is Jessica Penne Bolognese versus Elise Vampire Diaries Reed. I just can't wait.
Did you just tease the nicknames for later?
No, I actually had a different nickname for Jessica, but that was the the Vampire of the Night, Elise Reed. Okay, but anywho, yeah, no, I'm super excited. This is probably the best Apex main event that we've had in like a super long time. Like both guys are so good and they're on such a good run individually. And it's not quite the title contender eliminator, but I think it's really to find out who's who.
Who is who anyway? And who's on first? Did we ever figure that out?
I don't know. But what I can tell you is we're live every Thursday, somewhere around 8 o'clock, right? We're here to have a good time.
Listen. Everybody knows what happens at 8 o'clock tonight. The Mets are playing, so we're getting at it out of the way a little quickly. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate everybody jumping in the chat early with us in respect to me as the Mets fan, right? NLDS, crazy shit going on. Got to take down the fucking Dodgers. Nobody wants to see the Dodgers win. Come on.
Yeah, I agree, man. So, hey, go Mets. Let's hope they can pull something off here. But at the end of the day, what you guys came here for is a little late Thursday night football. Take the Broncos money. All right, no, I'm just kidding. But seriously, next time. Anyways, here we are. What you really came here for. We got the amazing middleweight main event as we were talking about. The Apex. Yeah, Daz, great question. Who are the Mets? Good idea. Let's get to the UFC fights. We're getting to it early. What up, Phantom Punch Breakdowns, Mr. Ghost himself? We appreciate you. Yeah, but let's go. So, what a matchup here. Fluffy Anthony Hernandez versus, as the Guru so kindly said, my fitness consigliere, Michel Demolidor Pereira. So, oh my God. I mean, so the question here is, can Fluffy survive the onslaught? And can he get to the wrestling and grappling pace that he's going to want to set here? Because if not, then Michel should be able to use his side-to-side movement, fighting off the back foot, counter-striking, speed advantage, technical striking advantage to his advantage here. We are talking about a small octagon, and Michel, this is definitely the best wrestler and toughest competition he's faced. I would say, let alone at 185, but probably in his UFC career. This isn't the corpse of Diego Sanchez, where he took a nice DQ loss. But ultimately, the question is, Fluffy, how are you going to take these front kicks to the body? We know we've seen him hurt, finish before by body shots, right? That's what leads to his demise and his finish losses in the UFC. But it seems like he's made a super renowned change to his physique. Definitely, at least from why he's nicknamed Fluffy, he looks to have managed his outer appearance. He's drinking less. He's putting more effort into his game plan. I think he already had a great guest. Yeah, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so I think this is prime Fluffy season for me. It seems like the finishing potential of Michel Pereira could be slightly overstated. If you go back and look at some of the matchups where he had success recently, I mean, yeah, he's finding finish losses, but who doesn't submit Nicola Oleksiejczuk, right? And yeah, he hurts and finishes Ihor Potieria, but I mean, he's not quite, that great of a fighter. He's shown a tendency to be able to go the distance recently, but Michel does have better finishing potential than a guy like Cesar Almeida. We've seen that. However, now in this matchup here, I think Fluffy should be able to weather the storm, and if that's the case, I do think we see an early storm, so I'm hesitant to play the money line before the fight with Fluffy as the favorite because I have a feeling that in round one, we're going to see some plus money as Michel's landing the bigger strikes. It's just I expect the pace of Fluffy to pick up. And even if he can't find a fast submission when he gets his first takedown of the fight, I think he's going to be chaining takedowns, back takes, just absolute pressure, front foot. I mean, God. So I really feel like it's either Michel finishing him early or Fluffy taking over late as the fight goes. So I'm hesitant to play until the fight starts here. But I mean, ultimately, do we really think this fight's seeing the championship rounds?
I honestly, as I kind of start to think about it, I get a little concerned about it all. And maybe it is just because a lot of these fights have been going the distance lately. But obviously, these guys have been killers, especially in the UFC here. Michel Pereira is on a crazy run right now. And you said a lot, but what you didn't say, Michel, 3 round 1 finishes in a row. I mean, this is high level shit, and they're rewarding him with a main event, you know? So I think that's really interesting. In a guy like Michel Pereira, who is a BJJ black belt, could be very tough to submit, right? He's only been submitted once in his entire career, which, is quite expansive with 42 fights. But, I just think that I don't like depending on a guy like Michel Pereira who hasn't seen any grapplers, any UFC level grapplers. His one chance at one was Andre Petrosky. He knocked him out in 1 minute. What are we supposed to do with that? So he hasn't faced Nico Price, Chaos Williams, Andre Fijalio, Danny Roberts. Which one of these guys is taking him down? Fluffy Hernandez lands 6 takedowns per minute. That's hilarious. 6 downs per 15 minutes. So
He's got quite the pace.
Exactly. That's how great his pace is. But that's kind of my point. It's just like with a giant question mark there, I'm just not sure. What does kind of stand out to me, I don't know. I kind of almost want to take the stab at the over 2.5. But at the end of the day, I do like Anthony Fluffy Hernandez in this spot. Anybody who can mix it up and who I really do feel is going to have the advantage wrestling, it is somebody I look to take, or I'm starting to look to take. But I mean, Michel should be taller and maybe even thicker. It's gonna be really interesting to see face-offs. This is a fantastic matchup, to be quite honest. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm not sure I'm willing to like super plant my flag because I really like both these guys individually as fighters, what they bring to the table. I think Michel's wrestling is underrated. I think Fluffy's striking is a bit underrated.
Like, let's not forget. Let's we can blow up certain performances if we want to, and like there's always right. Like he submits Rodolfo Vieira, it's incredible, and it was. But the next fight, he's unable to submit Josh Frem. So we think that Josh Frem is decent, and then Josh Frem gets submitted Trayshawn Gore, and we're like, what's going on here? So I have concerns about Anthony Hernandez finishing the fight that quickly, especially again against a BJJ black belt who is well experienced. I just don't know, if we can trust Michel's cardio or his takedown defense for that long, which could be enough to win the fight. Look at the last main event with Tyra and Royval.
That is a good question. Did we just credit a win over Josh Frem to something worthwhile?
No, you obviously just jumped in halfway. Zachary, go buy another hat, brother.
Okay. No, but yeah, ultimately, I think the fact that he's unable to get Fremd out of there is actually an indictment towards maybe this fight is going over if Michel's not finishing it.
I just because the handicap I started to think of was like, okay, if it's a 3-round fight, are we sure that there's a finish in it?
Right.
Like, are we sure?
Yeah, and that's a great question.
And would it be lined this way? Plus 120, over 2.5, and under minus. Like, are we sure? Because I'm not, and that's
an interesting
where
question. Middleweight main events going over. We've seen this story before
all the time.
Oh my God, could this be the ladder of a lifetime? Find out this weekend on Saturday. No, just
we're not doing that.
All right, sounds good. So we're moving on. We've got Rob Comic Sans Font versus Kyler the Matrix Phillips. What?
Boo.
It's Comic Sans.
Boo.
What, you like Ariel better? Times New Roman? Bold?
Yeah, Times New Roman would have been
All right.
funnier.
Rob Times New Roman font. I'm
Yeah,
willing to
that's funnier.
negotiate.
That's funnier. It's funnier.
All right, all right. See, we're willing to workshop here. I'm willing to be open
It's
to
still
suggestions.
terrible. It's still
Fair enough,
terrible.
but it at least got you going. So, Mr. Times New Roman, the question is, where is he at in his career at this juncture? Because the Rob Font of old, he should give Kyler Phillips a vet lesson. It's just I think we see the price this way because we've seen what's happened to Rob Font in his last few fights, and the wrestling performance of Corey Sandhagen. Well, I think we could see it out of the Kyler Phillips side. So, what do you think, Guru? Are you taking a dog shot? Is there an over and under here that interests you?
Honestly, not that. No, not really, right? Because Rob Font is so durable. Who was he submitted by? How long ago was that?
It was Pedro Munoz. A little rocked him, socked him,
Oh yeah, look at that.
DH'd.
Yeah,
Wingdings. Yes, wingdings. That's pretty good.
Wingdings, that's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah, Kyler Phillips has not really been a finisher at the UFC level, so I'm not gonna pick him to get a finish here over a guy in Rob Font who is notoriously hard-headed and difficult to finish, even though he loves to get rocked, knocked down, and schmammied all over the place. So it does make Kyler Phillips the prohibitive favorite here at minus 440 because again, don't think he's gonna get a finish. Going the distance doesn't matter how close the fight is. The three people's opinions whose does matter are not watching the fight, or they're have their family tied up by the Russian mob. So it doesn't. It's a split decision, and Colin Phillips so. Rob Font. So I just I'm staying away, but Kyler Phillips is absolutely the pick, and I do think he gets the job done.
All right, he'll yell at me for where I'm getting the line from, but Kyler Phillips by decision right now is minus 135 on DraftKings. So
minus 135.
Yes, exactly.
We're selling this as a play to people that this is what you should put your money on.
No, I'm just saying that's like the most likely thing that'll happen. But then, could you imagine the plus 450 submission?
No,
not really. Right?
Because he has two career wins. He has 2 career wins by submission.
Fair enough. So yeah, it's Kyler by decision. It's disgusting, and probably just pass given the price.
Probably a pass given the price, unless it comes down to boiling time and it feels like Taylor Lapaloo's decision, like it's just automatic.
Listen, what happens with $10 as the fight's about to start is totally different from what I'm loading in my Bet MMA confidently. I'll tell you that. So, all right, here we go. We're moving on to the next fight. We've got Charles Energy, friend of the Guru Johnson, versus Sumuderji, the Tibetan Eagle. We've got the matchup of a lifetime here. I think Charles Johnson, this is all a matter of how he chooses to go about things here. I mean, Guru, what do you think is going to happen in this fight? You got the inside look.
Oh, I got the inside look. No, I don't really have inside look. But what I will say is that I do feel that Charles Johnson's striking output is going to give Sumudarji trouble. Sumudarji is somebody who's had suspect cardio throughout his entirety of his UFC career. I mean, he's unable to finish Matt Schnell in one of the best fights you could possibly ask for and watch in the UFC. So when you're looking for that, it's just awesome stuff. Charles Johnson, right? Yeah, see, I knew that's where that was going. So that's not nice. We don't like
that. Was super. That was super
not nice. No, it's not. Yeah, I do expect Charles Johnson to get it done. I could see possibly a late round submission. Everybody who's a true Charles Johnson fan knows that the round 3 decision prop hasn't quite been hitting until it cashed with Josh Van, baby. We took him against Josh Van. He looked fantastic, honestly. It's a tough fight against a tough kid, and he gets it done. So I do expect him to get the finish here. So maybe it's Charles Johnson by finish. Yeah, I kind of like that. But he's such a... Yeah, we're going to go Charles Johnson by finish.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is that typically Sumu Derji is used to having like a sizable height and reach advantage. And in this fight, I mean, Charles Johnson is 1 inch taller and he's only giving up 1.5 inches of reach. He's only 5 years older and more like in his prime age. Like he's not quite he's at 33. He's not 35 yet. He's a flyweight, so we're getting there. You know, this is kind of a make or break season for Charles Johnson. And I was looking online, you know, because he's pretty active out there on the socials, and people are asking, like Mr. Tim Troiano from the Noka Cop Lambo Play show. Shout out to him for asking. He's like, "Oh, are you gonna wrestle? Because we could use some submission grappling, right?" And he's like, "I'm gonna dominate in every facet of MMA," and that kind of tells me he should probably know the game plan here, right? Sumu Derji, while a solid counter striker, lengthy, straight punches down the middle. You know, I believe in him overall as like a striker. I just think he hasn't done anything to show the advancement of his grappling defense. That if Charles Johnson gets a back take, this fight could be over pretty shortly after. And we see Charles Johnson do well with takedowns against Ode Osborne, even a couple other fights where it's like he's either hitting a reversal or landing a takedown on a lesser opponent. But he's been up against so many good offensive wrestlers that he's had to really adjust his game plans and training. So I trust the fact that he should know what to do here. Am I going to go out here and parlay the minus 225? No, but under 2.5 at plus 165. Holy crap, because if Sumo Derji is going to win, it's probably like we saw Charles Johnson kind of get hurt.
Charles Johnson's never been
right
finished.
away.
I disagree with that.
Right, but Azat Maxim has him hurt and then goes for a choke.
So what?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, Cody Durden has him hurt at one point, too. Like, if anyone was going to land a kill shot, like, wouldn't it be a guy like Sumu Derji? But no, realistically, you're right. If you're going to play inside the distance, you're playing Charles Johnson inside the distance. You don't have to choose with submission or KO. And you can even play a cheeky little round 2 and round 3 props to have some fun with it, too.
Oh, you're going to have some fun with it, all right.
Sounds good to me. I mean, it should be fun. And yeah, I don't think that this is going to be the underdog in this spot. I think they're clearly setting Charles Johnson up for a run here. He was a great 5-round fighter on the regional scene, and I think it would be great to see him get some of those opportunities. So, oh boy, late notice matchup. We've got Jake White Kong Hadley versus Cameron, the babyface killer Smotherman. I feel like if he just went with Killer Cam, that would have been, you know, like a much better reference, you know. But he went babyface killer. So, is there much to say about this fight? Cam's coming up on short notice, right? Like, what do you think?
I'm going to tell you that I like the over. Maybe like I don't know what they'll line it at. I'm hoping I'll get like an over 1.5 at some decent odds. Yeah. But yeah, I just think it takes some time to settle out. You look at a guy in Cameron Smotherman. He's been knocked out in round 1 twice. Finished in under a minute or in a minute and under both times. And then when you look at his since getting knocked out by Gregorio on last year's Dana White Contender Series, and we all know how fucking bad Gregorio is. He knocks out Mando Gutierrez round 3, who again we should know from Tough. He gets a split against a 7-1 guy on Fury, and then gets a round 3 Anaconda choke against a 4-6 guy. So 2 round 3 finishes and a split. He's not finishing Jake Hadley. And Jake Hadley, to be quite honest with you, is no like killer on the feet. Sure, he might be he's not, but I don't even think he's going to be the better striker to Cameron. He might be more durable, but I don't think he's the better striker. So I just think this fight goes over. So give me over 1.5, over 2.5. Fuck it, if fight goes the distance, I think it goes.
Wow. All right, hey, listen, I think it's worth a shot here. Jake isn't necessarily the biggest one-punch knockout guy. And Smotherman
shit is really bad. Like, would it surprise me? Because Jake has thrown some good shots, and he was throwing some good shots in his last fight. So would it surprise me, shock me if this kid got knocked out? No, I think he's terrible. But I could see him surviving against Jake Hadley for a decision.
He flies out to Saudi to help corner someone, flies back. Short notice.
Yeah,
The
but
cards are
like,
stacked against him.
how can you say that he deserves it just because he flew from Saudi? Like he was gonna go corner somebody for the PFL shit or whatever, and then flies back. Like I get that he's super desperate to be in the UFC. That's evident. That's why they called him, because they knew who the fuck would do it. This kid would definitely do it. So
nice. All right. Well, Hadley seems to be the pick. Not sure if we'll find if that over, because like you said, it could be a little risky, right?
I do like it though. I don't necessarily think Hadley's a killer.
Yeah. All right. He deserves it for his regional work at Fury, not for being a world flyer. Well, that's fair. Understood. But at the same time, I feel like he's a little bit too boxing centric. And I don't love the things I've seen out of the camp. Like, I appreciate Adrian Yanez as a fighter. I think he's a fun guy, nice dude. But the limitations in his development, and it's very sad when his coach passed from COVID. Like, things really changed in his camp at that point. And I just feel like they don't have enough leadership at the top, potentially. But, hey, correct me if I'm wrong. We're moving on. We got Darren the Damage Elkins versus Daniel the Pit Pineda. This is one of those classic old man brawls in the backyard by the barbecue. Except Pineda, like, I will say athletically, he doesn't quite look as much like the 39-year-old. Whereas Darren Elkins, you're like, is this guy 50? Like, what
dude, if
what's
you have a
going on
nickname,
here?
well, he has a nickname like the Damage. So all he does is, you guessed it, eat damage, not give damage. That is why his nickname is the Damage.
Yeah, and exactly. So my question here is, like, I'm a little bit nervous. Is he going to eat too much damage here round one in this fight and succumb to it?
You have to take Daniel Pineda round one for the culture. I mean, it's his only way that he wins the fight. And I'm not joking with you. What's the we have it written down. My shit's all fucking not loaded. Can you he's got how many wins and how many finishes in round one? It's in our notes.
Daniel Pineda has 28 career wins. All 28 of them are inside the distance, and 16 of them
round one. 16 round one finishes. So 16 of 28. What's that? 60%? That's pretty sick. So you're going to give me pretty good plus money on that, I would imagine. So I'm going to have to take a sprinkle on it because it's going to hedge out my obvious dog shot here on Darren Elkins, because I do feel that Darren Elkins is somebody who, even not in his prime, even right now in his current condition, should be able to weather that storm, that round one storm. And if he can weather that round one storm, he should be able to take over and win the fight, because Daniel Pineda is somebody who has shown to quit in there. I wouldn't be shocked, but it would be kind of surprising to see Daniel Pineda be able to put it together for 15 minutes.
Well, see, this is where I'm nervous, because realistically, like, his striking defense is not it's not great in the pocket. Like, I know the numbers aren't terrible, but yeah, like, Elkins is slow. The fade is coming. He is 40 and a half years old. And this could look like the Cub Swanson fight. Daniel Pineda is dangerous early on. It's just, I don't think he necessarily, I don't know. I feel like Elkins should be able to get to control position at some point in the small cage here. But if he dies round one, would I be shocked? No. And, it's a small shot here. Definitely did a little play on the plus money on Elkins before it flipped. And here we are. And now we got some considerations, right? But I think I'm going to let it ride unless there's something seriously missing in the analysis here.
It's fuck Shohei Ohtani.
Oh, man, he did it already.
2 pitches.
Yeah, this is why we did not bet on the Mets. I'm sorry.
Good fucking Lord. Quintana's so bad.
Yeah, pretty bad. All right, so we've got Mateusz the Lion Nicola versus Assu Zulfikar Almabayev. Yeah, okay, hang tight, because this is also an important factor that we didn't bring up. Elkins has a 3-inch height and a 2-inch reach advantage. It plays to our favor here.
He's the favorite now, so We got him at dog odds. I will be very happy here.
We did our job. And quite frankly, I think we did the right thing.
Pineda needs to win in under a round and a half. I just don't see how he's going to be able to keep up with the pace.
Listen, it would be hilarious if he got his first career decision in his 31st win or 29th win, but like, yeah, I don't know, man. So anyways, here we go. Mateusz Nicolau. The narrative here is this man does not want to get in like a real fight, and his chin just obliterated too many times in his career to trust. How many knockout losses at this juncture? It's 4. 4 knockout losses in his career.
And they're all 4 in round 1, right?
No, because Perez was definitely in round 2.
Oh shit, my bad.
But it's okay. But what I think here is that Assu is not necessarily the biggest finisher in general or on the feet from distance. So my question to you is he going to be successful getting takedowns and getting top control?
I mean, Nicola can grapple.
Right. So is Assu going to land a knockout blow on the feet, or is he potentially – because, I mean, his top control, like the way he uses half guard and kind of stays safe before advancing position, like it's boring, but it's also effective. So is he going to be effective in this fight, or is Mateusz Nicolau plus 170 got a little bit of juice to him?
I mean, he didn't fucking finish Jose Johnson, but he spends 11 minutes in control. He doesn't finish CJ Vergara, but Vergara's kind of tough, but also runs away from punches like a little baby and then gets knocked out hilariously. He subs O'Day. That's a really tough matchup. That's a tough matchup. It's really not one that I'm looking to get invested in, and I would understand how you could start parlaying Assu Almabayev and get yourself into trouble when this fight goes the distance, right? It's minus 315 to go the distance. Is Assu really going to be able to get 11 minutes of top control in the Mateusz Nicolau? I'm not sure. Nico has a 93% takedown defense. I mean, he hasn't. I mean, yeah, he's grappling versus Luis Smoka. He loses to Dustin Ortiz by round 1 head kick. Manel Kopp's not going to grapple him. Tim Elliott takes him down once, and gets 2 minutes of control time. That might be a fight worth rewatching.
Yeah, I feel like ultimately, like Assu, he's probably not in danger of being finished in this fight. I don't think Nicolau really has shown like that he's a super dangerous. I think he's very talented, but I don't think he's very dangerous. And I think that's where Assu, and I mean, the by decision at plus 100 seems tempting, but I don't think he's winning by sub, but knockout at plus 650.
I think that's worth just a fun grandma's couch cushion type sprinkle, because you can't trust the dude's chin. He's hanging out in Brazil with Luana Pereira. I'm not convinced. So
Bonino.
I'm gonna pick Assu, but I'm not leaving it up to the judges.
He assumes it's going to decision, and then you got to trust these judges.
I'm not.
Guru just told you about that. Bonino, that's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing.
Why are you assuming this guy is Italian?
I don't know. It sounds like a Bonino. Anyways,
you sound like a fucking
Gabagool. All right.
Exactly.
Anyways, we've got live every Thursday. Come join us. Come have some fun. If you haven't liked the show already for this week's episode, it's kind of messed up, but I would forgive you if you just went down, just hit the like button, do the right thing, help our content, help support the channel. We don't ask for anything except for your love and kindness and a like. If you want to subscribe, if you're watching right now, you're not already subscribed to the channel, I ask, what are you doing? So go ahead and do the right thing. So we'll move on here. Superman Brad Katona versus Mean Gene Matsumoto. This should be an interesting fight. Brad Katona, wily veteran. I mean, win or loss, this guy is not doing anything besides decision nation. So the question here is at minus 218 Mean Gene, if you know this fight is going the distance, as the other 7 Brad Katona fights have in his UFC career, well then, can we trust a minus 218 on a guy that, I mean, Brad Katona probably has the wrestling and grappling upside here. It's just, can we trust Brad Katona to use it? And do you really want to play an over 2.5?
Are we sure about? Are we sure?
Yes.
Are we sure that he has? You're sure that he has a wrestling grappling upside?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Brad Katona because Brad Katona is at a 4-inch reach disadvantage, and we just saw Matsumoto wrestle a pretty solid wrestler in Dan Argueta and choke him out. So I'll ask again: Are you sure?
Well, let me give you a little bit of information about that specific fight with a certain Mean Gene and his opponent Dan Argueta, because there were 9 takedowns landed for 6 minutes of control, and that's on 19 attempts. But what we know about Dan Argueta is that he doesn't really have great top control. Like, he's a great wrestler and he's very persistent. He has good cardio. But if you're shooting 20 times on a guy that's got good jiu-jitsu, then, all right, as you slow down, as he starts to hurt you, instead of just trying to finish you with strikes to the head like we saw in Argueta's last fight, and I think that's kind of why we didn't see a finish from Cody Haddon, whereas Gene Matsumoto, he sells out on a guillotine choke after hurting him. So I don't think, one, you're not finishing Brad Katona, and 2, I think Brad Katona is the better wrestler.
Okay, so Brad Katona's stats, mind you, also have to be considered because they're also his first UFC stint as well as his second. So he goes 3 of 12 on takedowns against Hunter Azure. Right? He goes 4 of 9 on Garrett Armfield.
That's a good percentage.
I'm okay, but Garrett Armfield is fucking smelly. Right? Like,
I mean, 44%.
Gene Matsumoto would scramble Garrett Armfield's brain, right? No?
That's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. Garrett Armfield's solid, man. He gassed out going for a finish on Brady.
Then you have to be on it. I mean, based on what I'm hearing, you're on a dog shot here on Brad Katona.
It's dog or pass, man. That's all I can tell you. And it might be a pass.
I agree that it's dog or pass on the money line because, again, I feel like now Matsumoto's price tag is about as high as it could possibly be after a very good performance against Dan Argueta. Like,
I think Katona's a better grappler than Argueta.
Oh! Vientos!
Uh-oh.
Tie game!
Wow, Mets. Look at this. They got some fight. Wow. Oh, my goodness. The Yankees also took a lead in their game. That's crazy. In the 9th inning.
Wow.
So, sheesh. All right. Look out, New York teams getting after it. So, yeah, ultimately here, man, I'm telling you, it's dog or pass on the Katona aspect of it.
Wow. You may have sold me because, unless we're sure Matsumoto's getting a finish, I don't know how you can play a minus 218.
Yeah.
It's the new way I'm breaking down fights. Like, it's very linear. Like, you see a finish? No. Over minus 200 is a problem.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's like that simple.
Yeah. No, I mean, it truly is. Truly is. There's no 2 ways about it. All right, we're moving on. We've got La Pantera, Jocelyn Edwards versus Tamiris Tractor Vidal. I mean, she's definitely got the makings of a tractor. Jocelyn, definitely more of a Panther-like appearance. They did a great job on their own nicknames. So this is awesome. They definitely fit their aura. Minus 258.
Okay, so TB, here it is. You ready? This is the real question. And you have to answer.
Damn it.
Who would you rather?
Jocelyn Edwards without a question. Because you're not, I mean, come on, man. Anyways, minus 258. By God. What does interest me, under 2.5 at plus 280. I think that there's a good chance. Jocelyn Edwards, she's going to kick to the body. Is she going to punch to the titty? because we know Tamiris Vidal has lost 2 times by titty punch knockout, and Jocelyn Edwards also has a little bit of wrestling upside. Now she also has a bit of wrestling downside, as if you have any wrestling offense, you're going to be able to take down Edwards. But if you have zero wrestling on your own side, then Edwards actually has a little bit of ability to get to some control time. So ultimately, I think she should win the striking. She should win the wrestling. And at minus 258, it just makes me throw up in my mouth. So I need to pass. But under 2.5, I don't know. Could be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you really want super aids, you could parlay like Kyler Phillips and Jocelyn Edwards. I just, how many millilitres would it take? More than 7. You'd have to add some liquor in there. Easily more than 7. TB doesn't drink, so he has no idea. Definitely more than 7. Maybe like 17. But like, there you go. By then, we'd make it work. If it worked. Anyway,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, why would you bet on this fight? Jocelyn Edwards is much bigger. She get to be at the striking advantage. Promise. I mean, her defensive grappling is shit, right? Like she kind of can scramble to get up at times, though, right? She's gotten a little bit better at that. TB, would you say?
Yeah, I would say.
So then, if you would say that, I think the 2-inch height and 2-inch reach advantage, coupled with her UFC experience, she should get it done. But what did I just say in the last fight? Is the fight over minus 200? Yes. Do you expect to finish? I don't. I'm not laying it. So
fair enough. All right.
Yeah, TB's definitely a lightweight, Pink Floyd. You're correct.
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't really drink.
He'll have a drink or two, get a headache, get salty, and then go home early crying.
Sounds good to me.
It's very unfortunate. That's why we just let him drink coffee and eat snacks instead.
You love to see it, and we have a great time. All right, we've got Jessica Penne Putanesca versus Elise Vampire Diaries Reed.
Boo! Why Vampire Diaries?
Dog, look at her complexion. She definitely also runs a fan club.
See, it would have been funny if you called her Elise 2% Reed, because like 2%
That's
like,
pretty good.
You just all you have to do is like think slightly outside the box, and you'll do much better. And you just
I literally I think that's the whole point, is I really don't spend any time on it. It's literally first thing I can think of. I know it's gonna annoy you. We do it. It's amazing. It's a great time.
Are the Saints gonna beat the fucking Broncos? This is hilarious.
That would be pretty funny. So ultimately here, the question is Jessica Penne going to have any measure of grappling or wrestling success? Because if not,
40.
She should be minus 1,000. But if Jessica Penne's getting any semblance of takedowns or control time, Elise Reed is going to be a fish out of water, and she's giving up a 4 inches of reach, 2 inches of height. I know Jessica Penne is a punching bag. She has 0 striking accuracy. She's slow. She's coming off injuries. She's not great, but it's just, I can't do it with Elise Reed here. I think when I tell you the one play that I have on WMMA for this week, it's all going to come together like peanut butter and jelly, but I'm not doing it on this fight. So what do you got, Guru?
Why the fuck would you want to bet this fight? This girl's 40 years old. She's 40 years old. She does the podcast with Angela Hill. She's all over OnlyFans. And she's like not even a plus 200 underdog. Oh my God, that should have been a pick. She's not even a plus 200 underdog against somebody in Elise Reed, who has definitely the striking acumen right over her. She should have the speed over her. Penne's going to do damage. Like, I just don't. She needs 15 minutes of top control. She could have 3.5 minutes of top control in a round and lose the round based on fucking up, because we've seen it over and over that they're crediting damage as they're supposed to. So that I actually like. But I just don't see why, again, even though I think Elise Reed gets it done. Like, right. I just don't think. Thank you.
Yes.
Where have you been all our life, Benino? Thanks for coming here, pal. Hope to
Yeah,
see you
we
again next
appreciate you.
week. Elise Reed, man, I just don't see why I need to lay this level. You can never lay minus 185 on Elise Reed and be right. She needs. I'm not doing it. It's not happening. So, I'm passing. But I'm obviously picking Elise Reed because I don't see it. I don't see it for Penna. How many fights? I don't. I can't load Tapology. TB, can you tell me where she'd be on her contract at the moment? You have to count UFC fights. So if the answer is this is her 8th or 12th UFC fight, then my guess is or 10th. Like
she's had 8 fights, but she's had most recently. It was Godinez, Kovalkiewicz, Ducote, Richie. So she's had like 4 fights recently, unless she signed a 5-fight deal. It's either she's starting a new one or this is the last one of her 5-fight.
It's definitely the last one of a 5-fight deal. That's exactly how that's going. And as you saw with Corey McKenna, they don't even have to let you fight out your contract and just release you. They don't like her performance. There's no place for her with 0 physicality, 0 wrestling. Like, I mean, she's terrible. And basically said, hey, I appreciate it. But if you guys decide to open up that atomweight division, I hope you give me a chance. And I actually think that then she would have a chance. But no, not betting this fight.
Right. No, that's probably.
There you go. Now what you do is you take that, and then you also add Kyler Phillips, and you add Assu Almabayev in there, and I promise you, we will not cash a ticket.
No,
I mean that's a good shot. It's a good shot as any.
Here we go. Super Melly, Melissa Martinez versus Alice in Wonderland, Arteleon.
Wonderland's good.
Yeah, right. Not bad.
Not terrible anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing all right. Super Melly, that's her own
doing. But talk about in Wonderland though. My God.
Yeah, I'm wondering how she got bestowed. Like, it's her and Norma Dumont in a competition. And I'll let you guys be the judge.
She beats her.
Yeah,
she does, and she's also she has other assets working for her as well.
Oh Lord! All right. So, anyways, Melissa Martinez here. I think the assets that she's got working for her is that she's a world-class kickboxer, and Alice is just not world-class at anything in the octagon. So Martinez is exactly. So I had to clarify, but Melissa Martinez. I think overall, like, she's going to have the best skill in this fight. I don't trust Alice to be able to get any type of consistent control time. I know what we saw in the Elise Reed fight, but Elise Reed, she's actually kind of sneaky offensively from, like, you're not expecting it. And Melissa Martinez, she also had a gigantic knee injury. So ultimately here, I think she comes back, like, looking at her rehab, her recovery, like, she's good to go. She's bouncing on one leg in a kicking position doing ladder drills. Like, she's all right. The knee's completely healed.
And you have to think about it as I'm just thinking about it now. This is the tune-up fight of all tune-up fights. Yeah. Melissa Martinez is a solid MMA fighter. If you want to give her a UFC fight at all, and you're looking for a fight in this division, who is the softest, easiest, greenest, most undeserving fighter in the whole division to have be on the roster? You feed her Elise. You have to. So I'm searching right now, minus 120 on BetMGM. I'm gonna lay that for at least a unit, because it doesn't make any sense. Why is this fight of all fights lined so closely? Again, Melissa Martinez can fucking fight. What can we think? Even if Elise likes to grapple, and she could be decent at it, she's decent at jiu-jitsu. She's not a super solid wrestler by any means. And you think that she's able to get top control now? Why?
Yeah, I don't love it.
And nobody thinks it's going the distance. I mean, nobody thinks it's a finish for Elise, right? So it's like, again, you think that she's going to – I just don't see it. So I'm taking Melly because she definitely, A, could get a finish, or B, should just win based on the feet. Yeah. Broncos are cooking now.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah,
love
they're
to
gonna.
see that.
Yeah, that the Saints defense is trash.
Yeah, I could definitely use that one. Yeah, so ultimately I get it, man. Yeah, we're laying money on Super Melly. Let's get some down. How much are you doing?
I was gonna do to win a unit.
Nice, nice. I like that. Let's have a party. I mean, I feel like we could smash a bit more, but it might not be necessary. So,
Yeah,
um,
I just we probably could honestly. I just you'd
this
have to
might be
do.
like the one spot on the card where you have like a real edge at a solid price, honestly.
Yeah, you'd have to. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I might be ready to go for more, quite frankly. Um,
Interesting.
like a 2 to 2.5 unit play, and that might be my biggest one of the card.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, it just
That's
feels like the right thing to me.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It seems like an overreaction to something. What was she? Can you check, please? Because I again can't since no topology. Can you tell me what her line was against for the last fight that she lost?
The one against Elise Reed.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, she was a
Um,
solid favorite. No.
well, we're gonna take a trip over. I'll let you know. But it's probably by decision. I think Alice is like decently tough, and I don't think like Super Melly's necessarily got great finishing capability. I just think like watching someone like Shauna Bannon fight her way to a solid decision,
Right.
and
Sean Bennon's terrible. Oh my god,
like
nobody talked about the Will Lutz revenge game. What?
oh
He just
damn,
drilled him.
Aussie, 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 oi, 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 and Super Melly's sub plus 2,000 made so many mistakes for Bannon. Yeah, is Super Melly the one to take advantage of that? Or
She certainly. I mean, I know she's a solid kickboxer, but how's her jujitsu? Isn't she an all-around mixed martial artist? Our notes would tell us.
well, she has the world class kickboxing background. Her brother was very solid all around. Like our notes are that decent takedown defense, but can't get up off her bank when she's there. So she should be able to stuff the initial takedown entries. And I don't think Ardalan's got any like super deep like arsenal of chaining, rechaining, getting
Yeah,
into it. So I don't know. We'll see. I think we're in a solid place here.
I think so too. Melissa Martinez should get it done. Yeah, I agree. Don't know what
Yeah.
she's improved when to the grappling with Reed. Yeah, it's just again, don't you think that Elise Reed would beat Elise Ardaline?
Yeah, easily.
Because I do.
Yeah, I think she's a promotional tool. Get more eyes on the fight, and the girl that everybody wants to see will take the L. This is definitely not an Eileen Perez situation where she's actually got upside as a fighter. So,
Right. That
yeah,
girl. That girl can scrap.
I'm definitely on Super Melly here. It's going to be a good time.
Or a terrible one.
Yeah, or a terrible one, but such is the life. Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit.
True.
I think this is probably one of the better lines we can get on like what could be a hindsight, like, oh my god, why didn't we do that one type of vibe?
It's going to be a terrible one for sure because we're not watching it together.
That's for sure. But hey, obligations on both ends. You gotta love it.
True.
Who would have thought, right?
I love the universe taking care of that for us though, because we will be together to watch the pay-per-view early next Saturday morning.
Let's go. Let's go. So
Austin, stay in your lane. Austin, stay in your lane, taking on Bellis, the big boy to Spain. Oh, that rhymes. Yo, we got
wow.
bars.
Oh my goodness.
Bars.
He's got bars.
Yeah, don't get in a rap battle with me, yo.
He's got bars. Yeah, ultimately.
Wait a minute, that line's not true, is it?
Oh my god, it's flipped. I'm sorry.
What the fuck, TV?
Yeah, I messed this. If I was gonna mess up,
I was gonna lay my life on Bellis to Spain there again.
right.
Yeah, I like Bellis to Spain here. I think Austin Lane is terrible. It's what you're gonna do though, and hear me out. Austin Lane is gonna grapple. Okay, he's gonna get 5 minutes of wrestling going. It's gonna go into round 2. He will be dead, and Bellis to Spain will knock him out. Then Bellis to Spain round 2 knockout. I'm calling my shot like Yogi Berra. Babe Ruth. Which one did it? I think it was Babe Ruth.
It was Babe Ruth. It's a good Yogi Berra. It's 90% of the game is half mental, Skeeta. So
round 2 knockout. I'm calling my shot.
I think it could just be round 1. Austin Lane, like the round 2 is if Austin Lane lands a takedown and sits in top control.
He will. He's a football player. He's the defensive end. He was a defensive end for the Jaguars. I'm telling you, if he does not get down in a high point stance, sprint across the octagon, and go for a takedown, he is the dumbest person you will ever want to meet, and you don't want to play him anyway. So, if I didn't take the dog shot last time against Bellis Spain, I'm certainly not doing it this time.
Melly was a -170 favorite in the last fight, to answer your question that I finally got to.
Thank you.
She was supposed to fight Yasmin Lucindo, but that's when she hurt her knee and shredded it up in that April. So, yeah, he's probably not that dumb, but yeah, I think
that dumb.
He also is just like where Waldo Cortez Acosta had like at least not been finished in MMA before. Like Austin Lane, this guy's been finished 5 times by knockout in MMA. And I wonder how many times this guy's
technical. Waldo's technical. Waldo can fight. He's just not, he just doesn't work hard enough. He's just clearly lazy. Like Austin Lane's terrible.
He probably should have stayed in his lane in the NFL football.
He was terrible there too. What do you mean?
Exactly. So this is a card opener. This is a get right spot for Big Robbie, the big boy. We're so proud of you, brother. I'm so sorry that I laid -160 on you last fighting.
Why are we proud of him?
Because he should do his job here, and hopefully that gets him back on track to having fun fights in the UFC. Because that last fight was just terrible.
Disgusting.
All right. I think we did our job here. Let's go, Mets. Hope you guys enjoy the fights this weekend. Make sure you stay tuned for all of our picks, but really appreciate all you guys every week coming down to the chat, hanging out with the boys. Means a lot. We love doing this content. Can't wait for next week.
Let's go Broncos. Let's go Broncos. Let's fucking go Mets. Let's go Rangers. Let's go Giants.
Okay.
I'm just rooting for the Broncos right now anyway. Fuck the Eagles this weekend, so fuck you, TB and Philly. But seriously, give my boy TB a follow out there. Make sure you're checking him out over on Twitter, Instagram, Pickett, Verdict, Tapology, and Bet MMA. You can follow me, the Guru Scouting MMA, over on Twitter, Verdict, Pickett, Instagram, Tapology, Bet MMA. Sorry, no guests the last 2 weeks. It's probably my fault. I've been like just so fucking busy with work and lazy and just not doing it. But I made sure to get us a banger next week. UFC 308. We've got Mr. Andrew Gombis joining us from the Magic and Andrew MMA betting show. Can't wait to break it down with Bets and Picks himself. So make sure you are checking us out, giving us a follow, and tuning in next week at 8 p.m. to watch us. And TB, anything else to tell everybody before we that's it?
No, I think that's about it.
Be
Keep
safe
rocking
out there,
out,
guys.
peeps. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was slow on the roll.
You're always slow on the roll. Be safe.